Welcome to One of Those, a show that explores the art of sneaker culture. I'm your host, Adam Butler, back with another episode. Thank you so kindly for being here. So we got a slightly new setup. Things are rearranged just a little bit. I told you things are going to be new in 2023. We're making sneaker culture fun again in 2023. So that means new studio setup. That also means hitting the streets, man. I'm telling y'all I'm going to be out there. So be on the lookout for all the new stuff coming up with the One of Those show. All right, I got a really cool show and a really great guest for you guys today. We're going to get to that in a minute, but before that, you know what it is. You need to go ahead and subscribe to the Up On Game Network on YouTube, and specifically on YouTube because we've got all the visuals for you guys, man. Like I said, I'm upgrading stuff. We've got shows that focus on the film industry. We got shows that focus on the music industry, and of course, we got shows that focus on sports and pop culture. We got it all, and you're going to want to look at it, okay? But if you're a podcast person, and I'm born from podcasts, so I feel you, go ahead and subscribe on all podcasting platforms. We got you, okay? The Up On Game Network, we doing big things, so go ahead and lock in. Okay, so today's show is focused on storytelling and the hunt. And I had to bring in a special guest to talk about that, man. Someone that focuses on it, man. My man Haas is in the building. He hosted My First Kick podcast. I was on this podcast a few weeks back. Go ahead and check it out. Really cool dude, man. We got into so much, man. We just talked about where the culture is, how to have fun again, and how to get to that hunt. Let's jump right to it. Welcome to the show, bruh.
Yo, thank you for having me on, man.
Oh, man, no problem, man. I was a guest on your podcast about a month ago. I had a great time. You host a phenomenal sneaker podcast. Tell the world about it, man. They should be hip, but let the world know what's going on with the pod, man. My First Kick.
Yeah, I host a podcast called My First Kicks. I just interview a new person every week and try to just use sneakers as a through line, whether it be just storytelling or just I'll kind of use their stories as jumping off points, and we could learn more about them as I've started doing the podcast. I learned that being only about sneakers was kind of a little bit hard because you would just be like you kind of just push yourself into a corner. So yeah, My First Kicks is more of just like, you have stories. You came on, you told your stories, and I use those stories just to show that sneakers aren't just about the hype. They're also just about getting to know a person as well.
Yeah. Yo, I talk about that so much on this show that it's communal. You know what I mean? And like that is the coolest part. You said something really cool, man, that I struggle even with this show, right? Like, I do a few podcasts, but with this podcast, to focus on sneakers solely. Your first 2 or 3 shows, it works out.
Yeah.
You book some great guests, this, that, another. But then it's like, how many times can I go to this well? You know what I mean? And I'm glad you said that just as another content creator, because I think a lot of us struggle with that, man. Your show focuses on storytelling. I want to get to that in a moment. But before we get to that, I want to talk about like sneaker media for a minute, right? Because I just thought about this when you said that, like, when you think about what's going on sneaker, and this isn't just to any sneaker YouTube. I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm just talking about sneaker YouTube, sneaker IG, sneaker TikTok. It's all about getting, I got this early. It's a review. It's this, it's that. Do you ever find yourself falling into like the temptation of that? Like, the numbers, your numbers are good, but the numbers could be amazing if I just like get the sneaker 5 months early and try to do the review route.
No, because I hate it.
Yeah.
I'll be 100% honest with you.
I was hoping you was gonna say that too, by the way.
Because that stuff doesn't tempt me, because what I really want and why I really started the podcast was just to create a community of like-minded people that want to just want sneakers to be more than just, I got the newest stuff. I got the latest stuff. Like the one thing that we've lost in the past like 5 years is grail hunting. Like we have a website called Grailed, we have Goat, we have StockX, we have all these sites, but the thing is, along the creation of these sites, right, we've lost the importance of what a grail is. And the thing is about Grail shoes is that they put you on journeys, and once they put you on journeys, you meet new people. You get to hear other different stories, or like you get to meet people who love that same shoe as you. And now it's just like, oh, I just went on StockX, I put $5,000 on a shoe, and that was it. Like,
Yeah.
where's the fun in that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when it comes to like early pairs, it's just like, man, I remember just like growing up and not knowing what's going to be in Foot Locker.
Mhm.
Like going in there and be like, oh my God, they have those? And then
Yeah.
just being like begging my mom to get them for me. And then
Yeah.
obviously she said no. And I'll be like, all right.
Yeah.
But now it's all about, yo, I got the, like, I mean, I made a video recently about the Year of the Rabbit Jordan 1s. And the lows, like, I'm not a big fan of lows, but that shoe particular, it feels like it's not even Jordan hyping it up. It's these content creators being like, I got, one of the 5,000 pairs are going to be made for this shoe. Oh, now are you going to get one? But like the number, like rarity and like false rarity is a big thing. Scarcity is a big thing. These brands use it. And the thing is, like, it's funny because content creators are starting to use that in order to push their own content, and I will never fall into that. I want to spread stories. I want to continue doing that, and I don't care if I'll have 50 followers for the rest of my life or 500, as long as those people mess with me, and then that's it.
That's an interesting point, man, because I even will take it a step further, because yes, the brands are certainly leaning on content creators. And it's funny, it reminds me of, like, I had Shake on a while back, and he was talking about hip hop, back in the 90s and 80s, and how, and if you watch like documentaries about hip hop in his early infant, the early years of hip hop, how the clothing brands kind of got free promo off of us because we were wearing polo, we were wearing all this all this stuff.
That's how Fubu started.
Yeah, but and Fubu took advantage of that. But like Ralph Lauren and other companies never paid these rappers to ever wear their stuff, right? I think now it's kind of like, there's rappers with Nike deals or New Balance deals or Adidas deals or whatever, right? Some of them very famous. We know who they are. But most of us are just, most people then going to the content creators. Most of them are just going out and spending their hard-earned money on an early sneaker, and it does nothing but help the brand, right? So the brand, I think, is like an autopilot. It's not like they're going out and going, yo, content creator A or content creator B, go out and buy this sneaker early. So, and now maybe they're doing that for like a Jock Slade or somebody like that huge. And shout outs to Jock, he earned that, you know what I mean? But when you think about like just the run of the mill content creator, like they're not getting paid. They are paying to get a Travis Scott 5 months early, to get a Lost and Found 5 months early. And so I got this new hashtag going around, make sneaker culture fun again. And I'm glad you said that about that hunt, because the hunt and not only just the hunt, bro, like the idea of having something on that like makes you say the slogan for this show. What are those, bro? Like, what I mean? Like, where'd you get those? What is that? Like, it doesn't have to be a ma manière. It could be an Air Force One I've never seen before. Where is that? It could be a New Balance. I know, and I do, and I'll ask you this, bro. Like, do you think that we're slowly getting back to that, where people are like forced to kind of get new things because the hype is just too hard?
I think, it's funny because as you were saying that, I was also thinking that the brands now are actually pushing other stuff. Because like if you go to like Sneakers Kick Check and try to get on the Sneakers app, it's all about wearing the other, they don't, not posting like Travis Scott or anything like that.
They got the sleepers.
Yeah, they would be like, wow, you wearing like these Air Maxes from 2003, and now you're on the app and people are following you and stuff like that. So it's interesting, especially because the way we're going, maybe it's going towards that route. Like, I think we're getting back into people being more genuine and more, well, I don't mean like that, because I feel like it's shots to like, people on that. But I think the idea of sneaker collecting, sneaker storytelling is coming back in that form. Along, I think also that the brands, like, as you said, Alma Manir are pushing their stories onto you and making you think like, oh, or making you think about what you're buying and its
Mm-hmm.
message. So as long as brands like that are moving forward like that, I think we would see a bigger. I think sneakers will have a bigger impact
Right.
versus all about resale price and how you can make
Yeah.
your next buck. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe Fresh Goods, I'm on. Yeah, we know the ones that are telling, using storytelling as branding for this. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
dope. Let's talk about storytelling. I think that I've asked a couple of people this on this show before, but I really want to talk to you about you because that is the theme of your show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've asked about storytelling. There are content creators online that think that storytelling is everything, but the brand is responsible for the story. Meaning, and I know but for the audience to understand, meaning like if I was gonna try to grab the sneaker. If whatever sneaker, right? If the sneaker has this certain colorway, then I have to be able to explain to you why there's gold in it, why there's blue in it. I'm looking at my Michigan Dunks right now. You know what I'm saying? There's gold in it, why there's blue in it, why there's this. This means that. It's when Michigan won the
Yeah.
the Fab Five did this X, Y, and
Mm-hmm.
Z. But I kind of disagree with that being the only, because then that forces brands to start just making up. This
I
Jordan wore
mean,
this jacket, you know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, we talked about that a little bit.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
brands, I mean, Jordan specifically is at big
Yeah.
fault for this, right?
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, this is the jacket that Jordan wore on David Letterman. Like,
Yes.
nobody remembers that. Nobody knows
Yeah.
who David Letterman is now. Like, what are you
Right.
doing?
Right.
Like, these
Right.
kids are not buying it because of that. They're just buying
Yeah.
it because it's a blue and red shoe. But
Yeah.
the way that brands are pushing it, I think, see, we're at this point where we're getting good storytelling, so it's hard to just be like
Mm-hmm.
we can only fixate on the good storytellers while pushing aside all the, like, I feel
Yeah.
like there are, like, you have the pandas,
Mm-hmm.
and like everybody trying to push the other versions of pandas and be like,
Yeah.
that's the story behind it. Like, no, there is no story. There
Yeah.
isn't. It isn't a shoe. I mean, look, the greatest con, I think, before he got canceled,
Mm-hmm.
was the Yeezys, because none of them have stories.
Not at all. Not one. Not one. It was basically this is called the solar rock because it might have a little green in it and a lot of brown.
Hmm.
And that's just what the name that the marketing department behind Yeezy came up with. It's really that simple. The Wave
Yeah.
Runner.
What waves you running on that
Right.
one?
It just, I guess, because it has some blue in it and some little, and it
Look
has,
like a jet ski on your feet.
yeah,
That's
I
why.
guess it looks like a jet ski. Yeah, and that's why I said, like, we did talk about this on your episode. I encourage everybody to go first check out your podcast, but also check out our
Appreciate it.
episode because it was
Yeah.
really cool. That to me, sneaker culture thrives when the people are spearheading it, not the
Yeah.
brand. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Back in the day, obviously, it was basketball sneakers. It was I hoop in these. I want the Jason Kids because they look cool and I'm gonna look cool on the court or
Hmm.
whatever. Or, we all understand the story again. Shouts out to Shake. He told the stories about how Run DMC and how the Adidas meant so much and why the Adidas went, why they took the shoestring out of them, the
Hmm.
story. But the people created story. It wasn't shout outs to Ama Manier, but it wasn't Ama Manier going, hey, my mom like this. That matters too, and I think that's
Right.
getting us close to where I personally feel like we
Yeah.
should be. But I think it has to get back to what you're talking about and why I appreciate your show. People, because there's a lot of people outside of this that don't know anything about it,
Hmm.
right? Like I talk about the art of sneaker culture and a lot more. You talk about storytelling and a lot more.
Hmm.
But the themes are me coming on your show or whoever coming on your show and going, this is why I like sneakers, love
Hmm.
sneakers. This is the sneaker that I got married in, or the sneaker I chased when I was in seventh grade, the two stories I told on your show.
Yeah.
You dig? Like, so, you know,
I mean, it would be weird if I had somebody and they had somebody on and they go, yeah, my first kicks were, the Ama Manir fours
yeah,
because I was forced to make a video.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I was forced to make a video on social injustice, and
yeah,
now this is my favorite shoe. Like, I
Yeah.
think it's weird, and like I don't think it's a, I don't think it's a, I
Yeah.
think it's a genuine story for the time, but it's not a
Mm-hmm.
genuine story to what you would want to continue to collect, right? You just be
Mm-hmm.
like, it has to be a moment, like I think it has to be a moment where in your life you're like, those is it. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just force myself to do something that I wasn't gonna do in the first place to get something,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
You bring this up a lot, and my forgive me for basically stealing the question from you. I'll try to ask it a little bit differently, but I'm stealing this question. You talk about the hunt
Yeah.
and whether that hunt still exists. Is it possible? You know what I mean? Because we can reminisce about the hunt all we want. We can go, oh, we can yearn for the days past. But if I have to enter a raffle to really get that sneaker, right? Like I tried to go get the Armand Manier for this has nothing to do with Armand Manier. Okay, the sneaker was limited, whatever. I didn't write an essay to get them. Some
Mm-hmm.
people did, whatever on that, right? But they did like a release at a local shop. I won't say the shop because I don't want to embarrass them because they were actually good people when I actually was able to finally get into the store.
Mm-hmm.
But it was one of those situations where like the line was wrapped around the corner and that was kind of feeling like the old days. But I remember being like, man, God, I don't want to. This feels like I don't like this. So it's like the only way you can get it is if you're going to enter an online raffle that is all about AI and bots and things that are out of your hand.
Yeah.
Or maybe a sneaker does an in-store brick and mortar release.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone on the planet knows that's happening and they're going to be there and you're going to very likely miss it. So I'm saying that to say not to be Mr. Negative because my theme is make sneaker culture fun again.
Mm-hmm.
But is it is the hunt possible in 2023?
Of course. Look, so current day buying, you can't consider that a hunt, right? You when you were younger, when you were going to buy sneakers, did you go, I'm hunting for these sneakers? I'm gonna
No.
no, you just go, I'm
Yeah.
lining up. Hopefully I get them,
Yeah.
right? So the hunt is when you think about that one shoe and you're like, shoot, man, I never got those, or I had these and I killed those. I want to get it again. And then that's the beginning of the hunt. That's the shoe. You're like, okay, I missed those. For example, I had a pair of Send Helps that I Send Helps SBs that I got off of eBay, and like I was immediately like thinking about them recently, and I was just like, damn, you know what? I'm gonna try to get these again. So when you get the like, it will put you on a journey, and then either it's like, all right, I'm gonna sell these sneakers to get it, or I'm gonna figure out a way to save up to find a way to get a pair in a condition that I want. Like that's all the hunt. Like spending 8 hours on YouTube just with the keywords SB. Like that's part of it. That's or going thrift shopping and being like, oh, are these in here? And then going and it puts you on a journey wherever you're going. Like when you're on vacation, you walk into a sneaker shop that's
Mm-hmm.
not a consignment shop, and you go,
Yeah.
oh, let me try to get the Send Helps here. Like
Yeah.
that's part of the journey. But the current state of just like how to cop or how to get a pair of sneakers, and all these YouTubers are making videos of just like, this is how you should do it, this is it,
Yeah.
or get a bot and all, join a cook
Yeah.
group. Like all that stuff goes out the window in terms of just like, what do you really want this shoe? Because that's what I've like, as we grow up, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got bills, you got all this other
Yeah.
stuff, right? So it becomes more of a less of a necessity, and I think a lot of people use the word need
Mm-hmm.
uh too loosely now when it comes to sneakers. Because like I
Yeah.
will see recently somebody posted the pink 11s, and they were like, oh, I need these. I'm like, but
Mm.
why? Like what makes you want to need these?
Right.
Like I think once it comes to a point where if you're at like like you're just easily able to cop sneakers whenever you want, like it's not a need, you just want everything,
Yeah. Yeah. The difference between want and need, and I do think you're right about that hunt, and I'll add something to that because so my birthday was recently.
Word.
A couple of
Happy
days, but
birthday.
thank you, sir. A couple of days before that, I said, well, you know what? I'm gonna go, man. I got a free day basically. I'm at the mall. I ain't hit the mall up in a long time. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna hit a mall. I'm not gonna hit, if you know the DC area, the malls in the immediate DC area, most of them are just like little, basically strip malls almost, right? The nicer malls are in Virginia, right? So, I go to Pentagon City. People in DC know this one. Okay, there's like 5 sneaker shops inside Pentagon City. Shouts out to all of them because they all gave me good service, right? But they
Mm-hmm.
didn't offer what I was looking for because you said it earlier. Is why I thought about this. They were consignment shops, right? So it's like, okay, I mean, and then, when you're dealing with a brick and mortar consignment shop, the prices are going to be higher than like the dude just selling online. Like I will say that there are people that are selling online that, because they don't have to go through a third party or pay, rent and, whatever.
Yeah.
They could just sell you. Okay, cool. It's even better sometimes to just get them on like Flight Club or something like that. I'm telling you. But shouts out to these stores, all great service. I'm hunting as you're talking about. I don't even realize I'm hunting because that's not something I'm not going to, I wasn't like I'm going to the mall to hunt, but I end up hunting because that's my nature, right? I walk into Saks off Fifth, right? And they have like the little shoe section, right? And all of this is stuff that's got like maybe like a flaw in them, or maybe they just didn't, whatever. And I'm like, yo, you see all these racks of shoes, size 11, size 12, size. And so I go into the 11 and the 12 section, and most of it is trash. Okay, most of it is starter sneaker or some dress shoe, fine, you know what I mean. But I go in there and I see a New Balance. Yeah, Sperry's, you know what I'm saying? Something stupid, right? I go in there and I see a New Balance box. You have several New Balance in there, but some of them are just like whatever New Balance is, right? But I go in there and it's on this gold. And it's a bodega collab. And I'm like, wow, what is this? Maybe it's just a brick. You know what I mean? As people, I hate the term brick, but maybe it's a brick.
Trying to get rid of that.
Yeah, me too. But maybe it's what's considered a brick. It's just something that didn't sell, so it ends up in the Saks, the offshoot store. You know what I mean? But the point is, it's like that's in there for $89. That's a come up. That's a cop. Because it's not about whether it's a brick or not. It's about, is it something I like? Is it something that it would have been, I wouldn't even have thought to get. I saw it. I was hunting and I found something dope. You know what I mean? And I think that had disappeared for a while, being able to walk in like Marshalls or Ross and like, you go walk in Marshalls, you used to get like a pair of Air Force Ones. Like, what? Not anymore, but it's starting to come back. And I think the reason is because, and we talked about this, the hype becoming just ballooning out of control. There's some bodega New Balance collab that bodega just knew was going to hit, and New Balance just knew was going to hit, and people didn't want it because it was probably limited. It probably sold out immediately on the website, and now they got all this extra access of shoes just sitting around, and it ends up in a little store for like 40% off.
Yeah.
That, to me, that's a sneaker I'll have on one day, and people gonna go, what are those?
Yeah, you got those?
Tell me the story about those. Yeah. You see? And I think that's where it becomes fun again. I'm hoping that's where we're going to be. One more question for you before we get ready to run, man. What your podcast, I wanted to have you on. I was happy to do your show because I think your podcast, and I don't mean this, I'm not like blowing smoke. Like I really believe this. I'm serious. I think that your podcast has a lot of potential to be, because you're doing something outside of just hype. You're telling stories, and I think that that can expand and be a lot more. What still motivates you to do this? Because again, whenever people talk about sneaker culture, it's always kind of in the negative. It's like, oh man, it's so boring, and it's just a lot. What motivates you to go out there, find sneakerheads and some good ones, and get them to tell their story on your platform?
I mean, that's an amazing question. I'm gonna tell you that straight up because I didn't really think about it like that. I think. I mean, listen, sneakers has always been a passion of mine. I was, after growing up, like, didn't have enough money to buy sneakers all the time. So when I finally got my first job, I was like, I'm buying sneakers. So I ended up getting entrenched in this community. I felt the love, and what I missed is that admiration for something that we all love together, right? And during the pandemic, I was going through some shit. Oh, I don't know if I could curse. Sorry.
You good,
bro. And I just kind of like, I miss talking to people about this. And I realized I was buying sneakers, but having nobody to talk to about this. And then it ballooned into this podcast that I had this idea for 2 years. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. It's my time. Like, I'm going to do this podcast. I'm put it together. Did it. And and what happened was people embraced the idea of I want to tell stories. I like everybody loves the idea of just there's a sneaker that we all wanted at one point, and so because of that, the conversations that I get to have and the people that I've been able to speak to is what's going to continue propelling me into into the next episode. And I don't think it'll make listen, this is an oversaturated market in terms of just like podcasts and stuff like that. But what I enjoy about it is the conversations and how I feel like, I'm not going to say it's therapy, but it's better than retail therapy, and it stops me from buying a lot of sneakers. So
I like that, man. I like that. And again, I just continue to compliment you on that communal piece, because you bring up the pandemic. A lot of people bring up the pandemic on the show. I think the pandemic was like transformative for sneaker culture, because again, people just were buying, was watching The Last Dance, you know what I'm saying? Like it was a crazy time. And I think we're starting to come down from that. In regards to culturally, I can't speak to the virus, okay, but culturally, we're starting to come down from that, and culturally we're starting to go back to normal. And what I think is going to be a cool thing, because I'm telling you, the answer you gave, part of that answer you gave, is a lot of people do say, like, during the pandemic this and during the pandemic that. And they always kind of say, but I got this stuff. I kind of missed this aspect that was going on before the pandemic. And I do think, like, part of having a sneaker is wearing it and being able to, that's why a reseller was able to make so much money during the pandemic, because we were just buying. It's like Amazon made a rack of money, right? You can wear your stuff, have that conversation piece. You know what I mean? And I think that's why I'm saying that your podcast is going to do well, because you represent that piece of it. You're gonna stop meeting people on the street. It'll just be, this person on Twitter. You're gonna stop meeting people on the street. You're gonna be able to do real cool stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna give you a whole business plan, you know what I mean? But I just think that you're doing really big things, man. And it's really cool, man. I'm rooting for you, bro.
I appreciate you. I'm rooting for you too, man.
Thank you, man. Look, man, we go do this together, bro. Let the people know. Let the people know where they can find the pod. And where they can find you.
Of course, yeah. I'll do my spiel. I am WhoisHass on all social medias. Follow the podcast at My First Kicks Pod. If you got a My First Kicks story, I feel like everybody has one. You can write into the show. I'll read it on the show. myfirstkickspod@gmail.com. Linktree is all up in the bios. Hit up the YouTubes, hit up the TikToks. It's all there. My First Kicks.
Word up, man. Thank you for joining the show. And we're going to have you back on, bro.
Oh, I'm always down. Let me know.
All right.
Yeah.
Big shout outs to Haas. Big shout outs to you for always tuning in. Thank you, guys. Listen, man, the hunt is important. That's the biggest, to me, that's what turns someone into somebody that kind of likes sneakers into a sneakerhead. When you finding things out there that you didn't expect, when you're hunting for something that you really want. We talked about this all last week when I did my New Year's resolution, so you know how I feel about this, man. So again, thank you, Haas, for joining the show, man, and thank you for talking about that with me and sharing that with the audience, okay? Listen, big things coming up on the What Are Those show. We talked about it. We're going to be doing live shows, and we're also going to be hitting the streets, okay? For my live show, I want to hear from you guys, so hit me up on my social media so we could talk about what you would like to see from a live show from What Are Those, okay? Now, in order to do that, you got to follow the squad and you got to follow me. Follow the squad, Up On Game Network, at the Up On Game Network on all social media platforms. Follow the team, at On My Feet Network, at On My Feet Network. Follow them on all podcasting platforms. And, of course, you want to follow me and hit me up about the live show or whatever, anything sneaker related. Let's talk, okay? MSR_Adam, MSR_Adam. That's me. You can find the link tree there to my TikTok, to my YouTube, to everything. I post a lot, so follow me, okay? Remember, mind your mental health. If we're going to have fun again in 2023, you got to mind your mental health, man. You got to be on top of that, okay? So please do that because it's vitally important, all right? Mind your physical health. It goes hand in hand, right? Mind your physical health. Get in the best shape that you can. Do the best that you can do, and you'll be all right. More importantly, never forget and please continue to be great. I'm up out of here.